Okay, we're here again to talk about environmental debate live and unscripted, which is the live incarnation of the People's Countryside Environmental Debate podcast. And if we had our time again, we'd choose shorter titles, but this is where we are. And we're going to be at the Bothy Vineyard, the former Bothy Vineyard, on the 27th of May. And we're going to be doing this next event. We are the co-hosts of the podcast. I'm Stuart the Wild Man Mabbott, and he is...
I'm William Manklow. And go back to the title again. I think we're going for the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest podcast title.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the questions we're going to discuss at this event, and I'm going to read it, is: are we really facing a water supply crisis? And what are the most effective ways of educating people about water usage and future-proofing our water resources?
Yeah, is it realistic to rely on our fresh water environments to help meet the needs of consumers, growers, agriculture, and nature? Or are there further alternatives to help fill this void, or help fill the void?
Now, if you're interested in that, buy a ticket. The information is below. And we have one of the guest panelists with us today who's going to be talking about that. Who are you and where are you from? Who do you represent?
Hello, William and Stuart, and hello, folks. I'm Richard Benwell. My organisation in the day is Wildlife and Countryside Link, which is a coalition of environmental charities. And I'm also chair of Oxfordshire's local nature partnership.
Okay, so what are the key points that you hope the ticket holders, the audience, will take away from the event and, more importantly, continue to consider?
Well, the stresses on our water environment have rocketed up the news agenda lately, haven't they? Everybody's heard of the sewage pollution problem, and there's rightly fury across the country about the state of our rivers from the overflows of raw sewage pouring out into them. What I hope that folk will take away from this session is that that's just one of many pressures on our river environment. So alongside sewage, there's a huge problem of agricultural runoff, and there are toxic chemicals that pour into our rivers from the use of cosmetics and pesticides and pharmaceuticals, and these add up to a horrible cocktail effect that's damaging our rivers, both for wildlife and for people. And to make it worse, we're also taking more out of our rivers than they can stand, and that increases the potency of that cocktail effect and increases the stress on our natural environment.
Yeah, so what do you feel that what do you feel is one of the key points that the audience could take away with them after this discussion, do you think?
What I hope that people will do is realise that collectively we have a huge amount of power to affect change. It's been wonderful to see people rallying round for the sake of our rivers to try and get government to take action. And sometimes we all feel powerless, don't we? And get the sense that shouting into the ether can get lost and that nothing changes. Well, actually, as the general election approaches, there is a chance for us to rise up and change things if we do demand action from government. And that can mean stronger protections for our water environment that can feed through to daily decisions like housing developments, how they're designed, about permitting for abstracting from the water environment, around the state of how we redirect and remodel our rivers in the countryside. All these are things that are up for grabs, and people can make a difference.
And us, everybody individually can make a difference. It's not, you don't just have to have a big name. I know, of course, a big name in this is Fergal Sharkey, isn't it? But not everybody has. You don't have to be a big name to make a change with this, do you?
You don't. And in all sorts of ways, obviously, we can all make changes in our own lives that will help. So using water better, being conscious of what we pour down the sink or flush away down the toilet does make a difference. But it's classic shifting of responsibility when the conversation is always turned back to what individuals can do in their own lives. What I'm interested in is what individuals can do as a democratic society to shift the dial on what government and what businesses can do. And you're right, Fergal and other friends are out there leading the charge, but the numbers and every individual can make a difference in changing this debate and making sure that we look after our water environment properly.
I was going to say, I like the fact that you should maybe market Fergal and Friends as a new team.
It would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that would be really good for to raise awareness almost of water issues, right?
Could be named.
He could record his own theme song and all.
Yeah. It gets written itself, I think,
Yeah.
actually, in some ways.
Oliver O'Dowd is going to be exploring this with you. He's interested in how to potentially make our usage of water more circular. So
More circular.
he grows aquaponically, so it's recycling the water and it comes back to us instead of extracting. We're just recycling within our own little community. But the final question is, what do you personally hope to get out of this event?
Well, I know that we've got lots of people who are brilliant experts in good water management across Oxfordshire. And I know that there are lots of folks who do brilliant, innovative things in the way they manage their land or work in their daily businesses. And I'd love to hear from them about what they're doing. And I know that there are lots of inspiring folk who have ideas for the changes that we need to make as a society to adapt to climate change and to cope with these chemical cocktails. So I'm looking forward to the grand conversation and to hear some of those brilliant practical ideas from folk on the ground.
Okay, so if you're not convinced to buy a ticket now, we give up.
Yeah. I would say at this point, Stuart's just is looking forward to the food at the end, aren't you? The buffet.
It's exactly, and the beer. But, so if you want to buy a ticket, come down into the description below. Just one click, and you're away. Thanks for being with us today, Richard.
Thank you so much, guys. Look forward to seeing you then.